Ron Callan. I think so.
How you doing this morning, Coach?
Great.
Congrats on being nominated for Coach of the Year. How do you feel about that?
That's cool. Well, if you're in that conversation, that means things are pretty good. And usually that means that you're getting to coach awesome people who are doing great things. You get to work with great people doing great things. And so that is a reflection of just that. And that's how I feel. I'm just grateful to be with this group, doing what we love at a high level. So it's great.
Really scrappy two teams coming up here on the docket. How are you guys feeling? What's kind of the practice schedule looking like this week? And I guess
I mean, nothing in particular other than just the scouts. Yeah, everybody's good. And so you're going to two opposing, gyms that in conference. That means you're on the ropes and you got to fight like crazy, and that's what we're getting ready for. So just going back to fundamentals, and just focusing on doing what we do as well as possible within the context of our opponents, and so no different than any other week.
Is there any chance we'll see number 15 on the floor this weekend?
I don't know. I'm hopeful, but I don't know. And so we're still kind of, I haven't heard an update yet today. And so, we're just hopeful, obviously. We want Ray to feel great and to get back as soon as possible.
Speaking of Reagan, the basically 7 quarters that you had to play without her over the weekend, how did you feel like the team responded to that challenge of just not being able to count on her?
Yeah. Well, it's not like she plays 40 minutes. We've had stretches without her. We've had, earlier in this season, we had a few games where she was in foul trouble. She's really grown in her just basketball savviness and ability to play and stay on the court to where that hasn't been an issue, really in Pac-12. But we had stretches preseason where, she'd pick up a quick foul or two, and we'd play long stretches without her. So this group has operated, without Ray for stretches. I thought the response on Friday night was incredible. Incredible. I don't know how many points we scored in the second half, but, we're in the final 3 quarters of that game. But not having Ray on the floor, makes things certainly tougher. And the team just rose, and we shot the 3 so well and found other ways. Then on Sunday, SC their speed is so imposing, and their length defensively felt like we missed her. And we couldn't get into a very good rhythm. And you got to give USC a ton of credit for that. The pace that Ray plays at and the pace that we operate with her on the floor, is fast and hard to defend. And we had a hard time, I thought, mimicking that or getting up to speed in that regard. And looking at the film, we did get good looks. We just didn't hit them. So our defense was good enough for it to be a winnable game. We were unreal on the defensive end. We just did not operate efficiently enough, and I thought we did miss her that day as we were kind of recalibrating, without her. And so that's been, part of what this week is, just get back to basics. No matter who's on the floor, we execute like we execute. And, we're looking forward. If we have to play without her, that's what it's going to need to be. We need to play our brand of basketball, which is attacking on both ends of the floor.
The last couple of seasons, this has not been a postseason team, and that was pretty clear by this point in the season. This is clearly a postseason team. How does that change the way the team approaches these last few games? Like, this team is not coming within a foreseeable end to its season. The end of this season is open-ended.
Mm-hmm.
What's the attitude of the approach in the locker room with that different situation this year?
I just think there's, it's probably more fun, to know that you've got, more basketball in your future, most likely. And That's a normal feeling. It's what we came here for. It's a lot to look forward to. As far as what it changes, nothing. Nothing. I mean, we're going to do our thing no matter, what tomorrow is. We're going to be great today. And I thought that was a true last year, and 2 years ago it was NIT, and so we got to give them, their props. That was fun. It wasn't what we wanted, but it was still something. And, more games in Gill is always good. And so then last year, though, like I said the other day, we played our best basketball down the stretch last year. We all knew we had nothing to play for, but we were just having a blast figuring it out. And, the freshmen were just having the time of their life figuring it out and playing great basketball. And our seniors finished really strong, And so I think for a year where, you only win 4 conference games and however many overall, I can't remember, I don't want to say it maybe, we actually finished in style. It was crazy. Every exit meeting was positive, and it was, so I think that is just the way you approach it. We just have a little bit more to look forward to this year. So.
Coach, looking at your career, going to Pullman, you've had some crazy, wacky games there. Sometimes on a Super Bowl Sunday when there was 300 people there back in the day. But can you relive the 2018 game, which went to overtime on a team that went to the Elite Eight? It was one of those road games you kind of really needed, but it was a struggle. And then your current assistant coach was involved in a huge play toward the end.
Yeah. You're right. We've had some interesting games over there. That game came down to an inbounds play that the play that we drew up didn't work, and it was an ad lib. And so they were zoning at the time, and we had this play, and we were trying to get the ball to Katie McWilliams, and Coach Aaliyah now, was taking the ball out. And I think Katie was either, the way they angled her made it so it wasn't possible. So Katie just breaks it off to the other side of the basket, and Aaliyah throws a under the backboard lob pass. And Katie jumps up, in Katie McWilliams style, catches it in the air and finishes it, and that's forced overtime. And then I remember the weirdest play. I can't remember the exact circumstances. All I know is we threw a full court pass. Michaela Pivick threw a javelin-style full-court pass that bounced and hung in the air. I need to go back and watch it because it's so bizarre. But it was just this slow. I just remember it being slow motion right in front of our bench. That thing's going to bounce. So it bounces, and Katie ends up catching it, elevates into a shot, and got fouled on the shot, made free throws, and we won in overtime. And so, bizarre. So how about less bizarre? Higher level, and let's just find a way to win in regulation.
Well, bottom line is since those days, it's been tough in Pullman. And it's a big challenge. They've lost one of their key players.
Yeah.
They're still pretty dangerous.
Oh, everybody is. Everybody's dangerous. I watch both these teams, and I'm like, man, they've got a lot of weapons that can hurt you, and both are well coached, And so Cammie's done a great job at Washington State, obviously. It's been inspiring to watch, and you just know you're going to be scouted well, and they're going to be difficult to guard, no matter who's on the floor for them. And of course, losing their point guard, one of the best players anywhere is you hate that for them, and you hate it for our conference. And but I've been really impressed by the way that they've adapted, their system, and others that have stepped up. And so, of course it's going to be a battle over there, So, thus the bags under my eyes, getting ready for this.
What about Rueck?
Great center, fast. She's savvy. Just the way that she plays within the game. Finishes well. It used to be just right, but now she's got the left hand going too, and so it used to be a pretty strong tendency. Now it's not as strong. Great rebounder, capable of knocking down the perimeter, and so just a really tough, gritty competitor that plays with a ton of passion.
Me again. We saw Sela in the walking boot on Friday, and then she was out of it on Sunday in full uniform and didn't check
Yeah.
What you've been dealing with.
Yeah, Sela turned her ankle. The day was just crazy. I mean, the day before our UCLA game, Sela goes down right towards the end of practice, and they did a great job taking care of her, getting her back. So she was available but wasn't able to really practice on Saturday. So I didn't. That game was interesting. Sunday, I mean, it was just so much Sunday. I just didn't feel good about it. But she's available going forward and back practicing. Yep.
Perfect. All good?
All right.
Thanks, Scott.
Yep. Thanks, you guys. Did you guys know that that's the face of NCAA women's basketball?
Oh, no.
Check it out. NCAAsports.com. Women's basketball page. Bam. Adlee Blacklock right there.
Perfect. Thank you for that.
Taking a charge than most people do hitting a three.
Yeah, well, because those don't happen as often, so it's like you gotta and that was how it was in high school too, though. I would because we had a charge wall, and so they would take screenshots of the charge in action. So it was the biggest deal when you were able to get one. I mean, we don't have a charge wall here, but maybe we should.
You guys good, those cameras? All right. We're gonna get
Obviously, kind of the elephant in the room is Ray's availability. Obviously, you guys don't have an update for us on that, but what's it like, trying to learn to play without her this past weekend?
I think just being able to control what we can control. Injuries happen, but I think our team did a really good job adjusting not having her and just with her being day to day, just doing what we can.
Mm-hmm. I also think she's has such a great impact on our team, so it's also a good learning point for us. Ray averages a lot of rebounds, so improving that part of our game, I think it's really good, especially for me as a guard. Now I have to get rebounds. So I think it's beneficial for our team just to continue to grow in aspects that we necessarily wouldn't have had to.
Following Sunday's game, Talia made it very clear that she didn't want to lose on the boards anymore, and you mentioned it as guards having to kind of step up in that role. What's that been like so far? And did she talk to you guys about that as well?
Yeah, before the game, during the game, after the game, she mentioned it. It's easy. I'm speaking for myself. It's easy to blank out on the boards when you're used to having people rebound. So I think it's good to have that accountability, to have her constantly remind us. It's tough for a player to have to hold their own teammates accountable. You don't want to overstep a boundary, but she was good with holding us accountable on it. And reminding me, games come down to rebounds, so that's what we learned.
Adlee, you went off of a stretch of, getting a lot of minutes, and then it felt like 2 weeks where you didn't even see the court, and then, you come out in the SC game, you lead the team scoring in the first half, you played your energy that everyone has come to really love. What was that like, and how are you able to flip that switch so quickly to just get right back into the game?
I would just say I love the game so much. So, you can't control when you get an opportunity and when you don't. And so when my number is called, I'm always going to be ready. And so I knew that we were kind of in a scoring drought when I got subbed in. And so I knew my teammates trusted me to go in there and make an impact. And so having that confidence from them and also myself and the fans, it's so much fun playing in Gill. So I was just glad that I was able to come in and make an impact.
For either one of you, your thoughts on Scott being named to the Coach of the Year watch list today?
I thought that was so awesome. There's no one more deserving than Scott. He puts in a lot of hours that people don't see, and he pours into us every single day. And even after the SC game, we lost, and he was, he took ownership for that. And you don't see many coaches that do that. Most coaches are easy to point the finger. And so it's just cool to see him just take ownership for that, even with all the success that we've been having. And so there's just no one more deserving.
Mm-hmm. I also think it's just cool. When we win all these games, all the attention is on the players, but no one actually emphasizes and acknowledges that it's the coach that did all the details to set us up to be in the best position to win these games. So I thought it was cool. I was scrolling through Instagram and saw it. So it's cool that the coach is getting acknowledgement just like the team.
Adlee, a year ago, this team was not in a position looking forward to an NCAA tournament bid. This team has put itself in position where that's kind of the expectation at this point. How does the difference feel in the locker room and the energy from the end of last season and the end of this season?
It's pretty cool, just the perspective of gratitude, I think, also just being able to see the progress that we've made as a group. I'm really proud of everyone, the new girls and the returning girls, just the adversity that we faced last year, going on that 9-game losing streak that felt like it was never going to end. It's just cool to see like the hard work paying off, and to our coaches just sticking with it, and the players too, just sticking with it. I'm really just proud of the group of girls this year.
So is this the situation that you envisioned this team being in when you guys got together before the Adlee trip this fall?
I think so. If you're not dreaming big, you're not dreaming at all. And I think we all knew what this team was capable of. We had the talent, the depth, the coaches, just all the right people surrounding us. So the sky's the limit for this group.
Donovyn, it's a long season for a freshman. How would you say that how's it going at this point in the all these Pac-12 games and the schedule? Very, very difficult for the last few weeks.
Yeah, long season. It feels like it's been going on forever. And as a freshman, just being able to adapt to that, it's a lot. But again, going back to the Scott thing, he always says everything's mental. So no one actually really cares if you're tired or if your body hurts. At the end of the day, you have to perform. And so I think having him say that, it's kind of like, at first you're like, oh, well, I am tired. But then you're like, he's right. Like, this is basketball, and at the end of the day, whoever wants it more, whoever lasts longer, wins the game. So I think being a freshman, experiencing when your body hurts and getting through that has been a good learning experience for me.
Donovan, down 72-67 Friday night, packed house. I know you guys all wanted to see that packed crowd. What was that like when you hit that shot, and could you feel the crowd?
It was cool. Every time I shoot a three, I'm like, Lord, please go in, please. And so when it does, that's cool. And just to hear the crowd, it's like you get goosebumps every time. It's kind of like a surreal, like all the work that you've done, you dream of it as a kid, and now you have this huge crowd, cheering for you and your team. It's just a really cool experience. You can't really describe it. And because you kind of go blank a little too. You kind of don't even think of it because you're like, I got to get back on defense. It's just a really surreal thing.
Adlee came in Sunday and hit that big three, and she did your passion. How would you rank her as far as when somebody hits a big three? How would you rank her celebration?
Oh, 10 out of 10 every time. We even talk about okay, we don't know how Adlee's going to celebrate, but as a bench, we should all do something cool. We've talked about it. We haven't executed it yet, so maybe you'll see something on the bench of a similar celebration. All of us, we all adore Adlee. Her hard work, how well she can shoot the ball. She wants it so bad, and that's just inspiring in general. So seeing her reactions are cool, especially beginning of the season, I wouldn't react off of shots, so it's slowly rubbing off on me that it's cool and it's fun, and it inspires the team to play even harder when we see how she reacts to all of her shots.
Last thing, Chile gets the buzzer beater and all that, and then the aftermath and all the online stuff. A lot of people had trouble sleeping that night because it was so exciting. Talk about your guys, the aftermath, the excitement, and when you finally, fall asleep that night.
It was surreal. The video that the social media team did, it perfectly encapsulates everything. The gym felt quiet, and then the shot went up and everyone was going crazy. That's exactly how I felt. AJ hit me in the face. I have my lip is still busted from it. But I didn't even care. I just was I'm going to go tackle Talia is how I felt. But and then it was just a lot of people had trouble sleeping, and I remember the next day in the elevator, we're going up to watch film over SC, and we're all kind of oh, this is so awesome. And then it was like, okay, real talk, guys, like we need to lock in now. But it was so fun, like being able to experience that with my team, and I don't know, it was really cool.
Mm-hmm. I mean, those you watch buzzer beater games all the time, and then when all of a sudden you see your team in those, it's just a cool thing. You take a while to fall asleep because you just like resurface on all of the small little details of the game, and you're like, oh, you remember this time when, you know, you cut this person off and I tried to screen someone and I screened the air. So it's funny going through all the little memories of these games that are so big. But like she said, we all acknowledge that it's cool, we need to celebrate it, but we also need to focus in for the next games ahead. So that's what we're doing.
All right, thanks, y'all.
Thank you guys.
Go Beavs.
Go Beavs.